I've created this tutorial series, guys, just to help you go from zero status to hero status in Angularjs 5.x. Okay, so what exactly is Angularjs? Well, Angularjs is dubbed to be the superheroic JavaScript MVW framework. MVW, these guys at Google, they decided that MVW should stand for Model View Whatever. The whatever is whatever you'd like it to be, because there's too many abbreviations nowadays. You get Model View Controller, you get Model View View Model, you get MVP, MVC. There's so many things. So they said, okay, whatever you want it to be, it can be that. This is a superheroic framework. It can do whatever. Why AngularJS, guys? It's quite simple. It's super fast. As it's built in JavaScript, the app runs in your browser, making page load speeds lightning quick. JavaScript and TypeScript are also fast becoming the #1 programming languages to learn in 2018. As AngularJS is built on both of these languages and backed by Google, it's fast becoming a framework to be reckoned with. So guys, if you want to learn JavaScript or TypeScript, AngularJS is the way forward. Today, I will show you how to get started with AngularJS 5.x. Attention everyone, just before we get started, once I've shown you the steps, please take action. It is important that when you see this, you replay the video, you press pause as we go through each step, and you do it for yourself. Please don't procrastinate in 2018. I've broken this down into 4 sections, so by the end of it, you will have an AngularJS Web App running on any live server. Section 1. How to install Nodejs on a Macbook. If we go to angularjs.org, we click on Try the new Angular, and it will take us to the setup page. Let's say Get Started. And from there, it shows us, okay, setting up the development environment. Click on Node.js. I've opened it up in a new window. I'm selecting the 64-bit installer, so the Mac OS installer package. Once that has downloaded, simply go click on the package and it will open up. Click Continue to install, click Continue again, click Agree to the terms, select where you would like your Node.js to be installed. I just have mine on my default drive. If you have any password, enter those details. And just wait a few moments, you will have Node.js set up. Once it is all set up, it will notify you it's all complete. Okay, how to install AngularJS on your MacBook. The next step is installing this. Now you go to your command prompt for this part, so otherwise known as terminal. For me, I need to first go to the location where I would like my packages installed. If you would just like them within your documents folder or on your desktop, navigate to that location. I've somewhere set up for mine. Here, I've also entered sudo just for admin rights, and then npm install -g at angular/CLI. So the CLI stands for command line interface, and this is the terminal. It should be very similar steps if you're on a Windows machine as well. This part will take a few moments. And once this is done, we now need to install the AngularJS Web App. To do so, we type ng space new and then the name of our project. Mine is 0 to Hero. We're now going to let that install, and Angular is now going to do its magic. It's going to get all of the required files, deploy them in our web app, and create a basic app for us that we can get started with. It takes in total about 30 seconds to 1 minute for the entire process to install. Once it's complete, we can now run our new web application in AngularJS. So in order to do so, we now need to change our directory to the new directory which we've just created. So cd space 0 to Hero. Once we're in here, we type ng serve space -- open. This is going to start up the server. It also acts like a listener. So any changes that happen while we're developing, it will check for changes and it will automatically serve them to the server so that the browser understands the code. And before you know it, we have our app running on our server on our laptops. So what is next? Well, If we open up a code editor, I'm using VS Code. Let's go into the folder. So here we have 0 to hero, the package we've just created. And in here, we see a whole lot of files. We want the source directory. We also want the app. Let us open up app.component.html. Let's delete welcome to. Let's now go to our web app. So first save it, go to our web app, and we now see it just says app. So what has actually happened is we see these handlebars and the word title inside. If we remove the exclamation mark before, let's go to app.component.ts. We also see we have this variable called title, and app is inside that. If we change that, I'm going to say 0 to hero. And we will now see when we save this and we go back to our application, it now shows 0 to hero. Some other things that we can do, we may want to add some style to our h1 element. So if we go to app.component.css, let's just put in here h1, open brackets, color, colon, and then the color, so hash 829. If we go with that, it's a pinky purple type of color. Let's save it. Let's go back to our application, and we now see 0 to hero is showing in purple. The last thing that I want to do, the bottom text, I want to remove all of that text and just replace it with some default text of our own. So let's remove that text, this h2 tag. We will replace this information with learn Angularjs 5 and go from 0 to hero today. If we check our browser, so that is updated. Let's also just center align the text. So where we have the style element on top, let's copy and paste that into our h2 tag, save it. And here we see it's now showing in the center. Excellent, guys. So that means we now have our app running. We've made some basic changes to it. And we can now look at how to deploy the productive version of our web app on any live server. The method that we'll be using is to create a test version of our app. So we'll go back into the console. We'll navigate to the directory where our app has been created. And once we are there, we are now going to go and build our app. So we will type ng space build. And together with Nodejs, Angular is going to build our app, and it will get all the required files, folders that we need to actually deploy our app. We will also create a dist folder. This is the distribution folder. So all the files that are listed in the distribution folder are copied and pasted on any live server, and they can run independently. So for that, we do not need Node.js to be running. One thing to pay careful attention to is the file size of our vendor bundle js.map file. Here it's showing 2.34 megs. If we go and build a productive version, so ng space build space -- prod, this will create a productive version of our app, and you'll see the file size is dramatically small. The time it'll take for the entire package to install depends on the size that you have, but in all cases it should be about half a minute to a minute, and then we should have the final package. So here we can see we now have the productive files which have been saved. An important part to note is the file sizes are dramatically smaller. Previously we had file sizes of 2.34 megs, whereas now they're just a few hundred kilobytes. Another important part that we see is the naming convention on the files. These are hashed. This in turn allows every time you deploy a new productive version of your app onto a live server, because the file names are hashed, you are going to guarantee that you are going to get the latest version of your app. There truly are so many awesome features to Angularjs. This is just another example. Next, we will look at the file sizes. So now, because they are so small, that means one thing. The files have been compressed, so all white spaces have been cleared. Here we can see the HTML file is on a single line. An important part to notice is this base href field which we have. This means our live server is going to be looking at the root directory. So if you are deploying this in a subdomain or a different part of your server, please add the relevant URL. To upload the files onto our live server, I'm using FileZilla. So I just navigate to the disk folder, select all of the files, drag them over to my live server. It just takes just a few seconds to copy the files over. Now, if we go to the URL and actually look at the website on my live server, we can see it is running there. So guys, this truly is a very, very easy and very powerful platform. And I'm going to bring you more features, more content, and show you the true powers of Angular. So you too can be a hero.